our presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mohammad. So I'm Rita, I'm from Trust IT, and I'm going to provide an overview of what is SEEBLOCKS. So SEEBLOCKS, it's a project funded by the European Union. And the purpose of this project, so why the European Union wanted to fund a project on blockchain. So the need was because, so as you know, there are all these standard development organizations who develop standards, who are kind of shaping the world of the future of the IT. And the European Commission noticed that on these standardization organizations, there wasn't a high number of representatives or Europeans there, and of course, European Union would like to have more Europeans there, so more or less European values can be taken into account when shaping these standards, and also not just European values, but maybe the European market has different challenges compared to the US, to the Japanese, to the Australian, and so on. So the idea was to bring more the European perspective into these technical working groups and other initiatives from STOs. And this is why SEEBLOCKS was born. So the main goal is to support European experts on blockchain standardization, on attending these events, and to bring this European message to the time into the discussion. So this is the main goal of SEEBLOCKS. So, and with this we launched 4 open calls where experts can apply, present their plan, their work, and after an evaluation, some of them are selected and we fund them to do the work they said they would do, of course related to standardization. So we already have 3 calls. We have now the 4th and the last one open, which will be open till the 22nd of July. If you may ask, do I have to be a European? That's a common, especially in a very international conference. You have to be based in Europe or in one of the associated countries with the European Union. So if you are from, let's say, Mexico, but you live in Europe, you can apply. Or if you are not European, but you live in one of those countries, which are on the list, you can also apply. So what we invite you is to check the call of the page and see if your country is listed there. So this is the main goal, but we have other goals. So these experts, by joining on these activities, they need to altogether to contribute to around 100 standardization documents. So that's an internal KPI we have inside this project. Another thing is we developed a standards visualization tool, because one of the things that noticed, and it was referred yesterday during the plenary presentation, there is a lack of skills in order to develop standardization. So we have this tool, it's kind of an online library where we have several different kinds of documentation related to blockchain standardization. It's available in English, in German. We are considering to add other languages. And then last, we are also having, we are writing some landscape and gap analysis reports, and the idea would be we are sending these reports to the European Union, and we want to provide insights for them to consider on the policy paper they are publishing which is called the European Union ICT Rolling Plan of Standardization. So these are the main 3 goals. And before I pass the word to Mohammad and we go to the papers, so at the moment there are 3 things we can offer you. So the first has said you can apply to our 4th SEP call till the 22nd of July. And each candidate can get funded to a maximum of 10,000 euros. The second point is the second open consultation, which is related to that landscape report we are doing, and we want to send to the European Commission to be included in the ICT rolling plan. So we have a survey which is open by 31st of July, and we want to collect your inputs, your ideas, your thoughts on what the European Union, but also we don't think about Europe, we also think about, of course, with special focus on Europe, but also worldwide. We'd like to know your opinion, what these SEOs and policymakers should take into account when writing future legislation. And the last point is the standard visualization tool. So the tool is available for you to check, but we also want to make available whatever you know that exists and is not listed there. So we are also open to get your recommendations and suggestions of materials that should be listed there. So we hope we would like to engage with us on these three levels. We have more. This is the ones that are happening right now, but if you want to have more updates from us, we have also the website, the social medias, but we also have a newsletter too. So you just need to register for a newsletter and you'll get updates from us. And this is me. I think I'll pass the word again to Mohammad, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. So we are going directly to, we will have 4 presentations. The first one would be Dimitar, Kyosev, and the paper is Distributed Ledger Technology as a Tool for Voluntary Standardization Compliance in Emerging Technologies, a Legal View. The second paper is Geopolitical Maneuvering in Blockchain Standardization, Comparative Analysis of the EU and US Approaches, which is presented by Ruochen. And the third one, which is presented by Ramin, is Secure and Decentralized Collaboration in Oncology, a Blockchain Approach to Tumor Segmentation. This is one of the use cases. The first two was the standardization-related papers. This one is one of the blockchain use cases. And the last one, which is presented by Elham Mianji, is another use case in the smart cities by the title of Hybrid Consensus Network for a Scalable and Secure Internet of Vehicles. I invite our first presenter. If you want, you can present from.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh,
Hopefully, yes. What's the fruit there? I think that's,
this one.
if you, oh, it's in Italian, isn't it?
It is Italian.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, this one.
Well, yeah, perfect. Okay, guys. So, by the way, can you hear me without the microphone? Yeah. As somebody from south of Europe, I like to present with my hands and talk with my hands. So I will be a little bit louder. So the first good news for you guys is that I'm going to bribe you. So I brought a special sweets from Bulgaria. They're rose flavored. This is an old Japanese tradition to bring something small from your home country. So those of you who ask questions are guaranteed sweets. So be nice, deserve it. So let's start with my presentation. So let's think about cooking and recipes. So a standard can be really described as a recipe. So you can either think about following the steps in the recipe, putting the right amount of sugar, the right amount of other ingredients, or you can think about actually tasting the food. And obviously, we will all agree that if we taste the food, that is actually the one that is much more important whether, over the option whether you are following the recipe right. Unfortunately, when we're talking about standardizations, so often nowadays, what we have, and it's reasonable why we have it historically, is actually you have a standardization body that comes and checks if you are following the standard, if you're following the sets of steps that are required to produce whatever you're producing. And here is important to say, well, at least I tried to say it in my paper, that when we are talking about these following steps against end product, the end product can actually be tested. It is possible using innovative view of things, changing the paradigm. So using DOT. So you can either turn towards external evaluation as a process, or you can ask the users, do you like the food? Do you like what you get? How well it performs? And yes, I would grant you immediately that it may not be suitable for everything, but there is a huge range of possibilities from manufacturing towards service provision, and standardization in service provision as set outcome, especially in new technologies like, let's say, AI, or creating something as a composite service, where you have some part that is on the cloud and some other parts being physical. These things can actually really be tested by the outcomes. And think about KPIs, key performing indicators, and how those are actually something that can be tested from the viewpoint of a user. And why emerging technologies? So the first thing is that there is substantial gains from standardization of emerging technologies. The literature is very clear about it, and I think that it's also common sense. If you have technology that is just emerging, if the clients, the end users know what they are going to get and they get it every time, it is much, much better for getting more investment in that technology, making it more recognizable on the market. And the other point is that when we're talking about emerging technologies, let's say XR, extended reality, you can think that there is those small players for whom there is a high cost of adoption and policing of that standardization. And I must point out that that standardization is not coming in a vacuum. It is surrounded by a number of economic and legal factors, a whole set of environmental constraints. And these constraints are the point of the paper I'm presenting currently. So you have the economic costs, you have the incentive for adoption, for both the companies and the users, whether those users actually are going to be in a model, let's say, B2C, business to customer, B2B, business to business, or something like B2B to C. So let's start with the technical part. Now, I'm obviously a legal guy. I don't understand much technical part, but I'll do my best to try to summarize the point of using directed cyclical graphs as a DOT technology. And the main point is it's freaking cheap. It is cheap. The idea of that technology is the point where you are not actually getting a block of information that is saved from now until the end date. It is a block of information that can be overwritten when you no longer need it to keep it. And this would allow to have an agreement with your customers that you're having data points that are collected for a certain period of time, whether that would be 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, whatever the warranty period is. But you are going to have a limited amount of space and limited amount of data that you would need to keep. And the technology allows every new kind of entry into the system to be verified by a couple of prior entries into the system. So it provides both the flexibility that is required to reduce costs and the certainty that is required to make it impartial. And yes, I will speed up a little bit. So the second important point is that it needs to be fair. So if we need to be honest, the technology itself is doing one thing. It is recording stuff. And in our case, we want to have continuous recording of performance of whatever is performing, whether that would be service or something else. And to achieve a productive outcome, we really need to create a system that is incentivizing people. And in order to do that, it would definitely need to be fair. The legal tool, and I'm going to have a couple more minutes, and I know that we may have quite an interesting conversation afterwards, but the legal tool that I want to think about and put as an assessment in this paper is first the standard formulation. It is really important when you have a creation of a standard. Now, ICT standards, there's I think around 5,000 at the moment, and they're going to grow more and more. And we are talking about soft standards. So when you're creating the standard, you need to do it carefully from the legal perspective. So you want also to consider what is around that standard, concerning protection of personal data, let's say, concerning the use of AI, if you're using AI. So all these things need to find their way into the standard. The second big issue is the abuse of rights and game theory. For those of you who are not familiar with game theory, it is in social sciences, it is used to try to optimize the common prosperity and the common gain of players in a system. So in the context of standardization, DOT standardization, what I'm talking about is pretty much how the abuse of rights should be prevented. So if I'm a customer, how not to make the life of my provider who is making all these efforts to put on DOT the performance of, let's say, her service, how not to make her life more unpleasant, trying to extort some compensation. And the idea here is to actually prevent that by making it not a compensation for loss profit, but if there is a detection of substandard behavior, there is going to be a reward that is predetermined by the standard setter, whether that would be additional service, whether that would be a discount on future purchases of the service, but it is something that on one hand is really compensating to an extent the customer, and on the other hand is not making the business go bankrupt because somebody has decided to tinker a little bit around the sensors of a machinery, let's say. The last thing, and yes, I'm almost on time. The last thing I wanted to say is about dispute and liability limitations. So I have done that. Honestly, I'm guilty here. When you are in the legal department, which sets the terms and conditions, you're really kind of incentivized to put terms and conditions like, okay, we are always right. Whatever happens, we choose who is going to arbitrate between our disputes, and that is to be done in such a way that there is no possible human way for the customer to win. And it is very kind of easy for the legal department to go into that direction, because it's going to make their work really, really nice later on. Unfortunately, it is not nice for the consumer. And this is another pitfall that my paper has identified and is saying, don't abuse the power on the other side. Let's stop abusing the power from the customer. Let's also stop abusing the power that the standard setter has. So be nice to each other. If you're not nice, this thing is not going to work so well. So Key takeaways from this talk, which I hope you're going to take. So first, there is a possibility to use DOT technologies in a really different way, namely not to look at what the process are, but to look what the outcomes are. And to do that, it can be done, that would be the second takeaway, it cannot be done for everyone, obviously, but it could be done for quite a few use cases, and we can talk about that in the Q&A. And the third important takeaway that I hope you will get from this presentation, this is the sweetest presentation you have seen on this conference. I have the biggest kind of sweets and desserts concentration per slide, and I claim that. So thank you very much. I hope that I'm on time, and I'm ready for your questions. Remind you, anyone who asks questions get a special delight.
Thank you for your presentation. Does anybody have any question?
Oh, thank you very much for the interesting presentation. I really enjoyed it with the beautiful photos. I have one question. I mean, when I study blockchains, the smart contract, concept of smart contract constantly pops up.
Yeah.
And I don't know, somehow in my understanding is smart contract, it has a certain functionality to replace the legal system, particularly around the lawyers. But it seems to me you've got to create more room for the lawyers to get in. So it's so conflicting, it's two different ideas. So what do you view on the smart contract, the blockchain setup, and the standards, how it's going to complement the current legal system, also replacing the current legal system?
Yes. Wonderful question. Especially for you. So now, from a legal point of view, and I should underscore it's kind of universal, you don't want to go to the courts because they take lots of time, lots of money, and they're not really so certain what outcome you're going to get. So if you're a lawyer like me, what you would like to have something automatic. So something that will give you fast results, something that would give you absolute certainty that if A, then B, and something that is going to really make your life easier. That's why we really love smart contracts. Smart contracts are kind of the best. Unfortunately, in some cases, they're not that legal because it really depends how you're structuring those. Concerning the standardization approach, what you can do is put a smart contract on top of this kind of conception, because this conception is pretty much saying this: you have something that is operating, let's say this mic here, it is operating, so you're recording how well it is operating. And after that, if there is a dispute, and if it's operating, let's say, 85% of the time, and you have a contract that it should operate 87% of the time, you can really show it, and you can get immediately a refund, let's say, if we're talking about refunds. But that is on top of what I'm talking here. Otherwise, I totally agree. It's a wonderful conception, and I'm all in favor of doing it because it's going to make the lawyer's life much easier. But for the moment, let's stop here. Other questions? Sure. One for you, sir.
Thank you. It's a related question. How do you codify law into computational terms?
Well, you know, I hate when smart people ask questions because these are the questions that I don't really want to answer. But pretty much, you don't. What you do is try to make approximations. Because again, law is something that is alive. It is not something that is set in stone since the age of Henry IV, let's say. It is alive and changing depending on the circumstances. I can go in a very great details about the different legal systems in Europe, how the European Court of Justice operates, etc., etc. But we don't have the time, and the kind of what I wanted to answer to your question is, when we're talking about meeting the way mathematics thinks and the way human thinks, that are pretty much the legal stuff, we need to be very careful, because something that are very apparent for us humans, like, okay, something is unjust or something needs to be changed, is not apparent for the computer. So from that perspective, carefully, slowly, much slower than I wish, and we eventually are going to find some merger between the two, but it's some way away.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any questions? So, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to leave the Bulgarian Swiss here. The first one wins. Oh, thank you.
Our next presenter is Ruochen.
Yep.
I think I just resolved that. I think
No, it's work.
it's worked. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So thanks to everyone to attend today's conference and listen to my presentations, and thanks to SEEBLOCKS to give me this opportunities to present my PhD research project here. So today I'm going to talk about the geopolitical minorities in the blockchain technology, blockchain standardizations, and make the comparative analysis across the EU and the US approach. So let's get started. So currently, there are more than 9,000 active cryptocurrencies in this market. Since 2013, there are only 66 cryptocurrencies has been recorded in the market. And this number is kind of approach to a stable levels, and that shows there in the past few years. And after the peak on the February 2022, so what happens in the 2022, I think most of the people you familiar with the blockchain market, you know, Luna Terra meltdown on the May, and also the FTX has been reported the default at the end of the October. So that's why those kind of hiccup signals to the market, and the investors would like to stay in stable situations. So that's why stable coins comes out and get more attention in this market. That is something we're going to discuss today, the standardization around it. And the Bitcoin price has doing nuts in the past few months, and more and more institutions that try to get involved in this crowd and pathways. Even the US government has increased the Bitcoin holdings in since the last big bear market in 2021. So that's why we also get interested about this topic, and we did some research on the blockchain standardizations to apply it to the different theoretical background. And also we did some research on the geopolitics. So what we're gonna do for this, we try to find what is the difference for blockchain standardization approach within the different regions, and see how the geopolitical issue play a certain roles for the different methods. So that's why we make the comparisons of the blockchain standardizations across the EU and US and set up the ISO as a benchmark here. So for the US standardization, NIST and ANSI, they are two most major players in this area. And the NIST, they set up the blockchain technology under the cryptographic technologies. And NIST, they developed the standard based on the processing of the problem solving and collaborations between the different SDOs. After they released internal documents that regarding to a specific technology issues and give the guideline for it. And different STUs could submit their solutions, or they could collaborate together to come up with a standard draft and submit to the NIST. And the NIST could select the standards based on the internal computations to publish either federal information processing standards or special publications. But not all of these standards could become American national standards, so they should go through the processing from the AMSI. So we have the very good examples for the internal report for the blockchain technologies. That is the document 18301. It provided a very highlightly technique overview and the conceptual framework for tokenization. That is something important and crucial, where the US has made the first movement for the standardization on the tokenization. Based on our limited research, we find out that EU has taken a completely different approach for the blockchain standardizations. But US, they are more focused on addressing the different technology categories, and they focus on the fintech applications very well. So we can see the figure here, fintech as biggest sectors in standardization applications under the blockchain technologies. And even some technologies we have been standardized very well, like transaction management or the wallet and key management that served for the fintech evolutions. Other technologies such like a crypto algorithm or the blockchain systems architectures or the security management, they also be standardized very well in the US blockchain standardization area. So now compared to the EU standardization, CEN and ENISA, they are two major bodies, play a certain role in there. They focus on the digital identity wallet standards and also the cloud service CEN standards. But it's very interesting, we find that CEN has developed their some technical standards referred from the ISO standards, such like blockchain frameworks, also the vocabularies in there. However, we mentioned about that EU, they are taking a completely different directions for the blockchain standardizations. They would like to regulate it. So that's why MiCA comes. So MiCA is a new regulations that aims to harmonize the regime for the EU crypto asset markets. So they also require the ESMA to develop the standard draft for the regulatory technical standards and also the implementing technical standards. Based on the recent report from the ESMA, they received the 36 responses from the big crypto providers and also banks regarding to 5 regulatory technical standards and 2 implementing technical standards. But what is the real things that MiCA would want to do? So we check out the original documents from the MiCA, and we find out there is a problem train that has been identified in there. So they find the problems for the crypto has covered by the EU legislations. So there is an information imbalance within the market players and crypto providers and also the regulators. So that's why MiCA, they will ask an acceleration for the cryptos. So if the new crypto providers want to go into the EU market, they should get a license from the MiCA. So that's why MiCA asked the ESMA to develop the standards and help the crypto providers to comply with these standards to submit the relevant information that shows here. And to help the EU market become efficiency and the approach to the financial stabilities. So that is what MiCA exactly want to do. We also did the research for the ISO because CEN has developed their standards referred from the ISO. ISO has covered the application sectors and also technical sectors very well. But it's very interesting to find that the use case of from the ISO standardized for the financial service, it's accounting systems. But accounting systems, it didn't make too much impact or the big influence in this competitive competitions. So that's why EU, they changed to another blockchain instrument, that is stable coins. So stable coins is kind of a bridge between the crypto assets and also the fiat asset. So EU regulations, they realize most of the stable coins that page to the US dollars, that implied to increase the in dollars powers in the dominance. So that's why Europeans, they would like to develop a euro-backed stable coins and to counter the dominance of the USD page to the stable coins. We also checked the European SET ruling plan in 2024. They clearly recommend that the European standardization bodies need to develop standards for the programmable euro and also the token economics. So that is showing clearly show the European support to develop euro coins. And also MiCA, they encourage the big companies to involve in this market. So they provide a certainty and stability for the stable coins. That is the feature exactly what stable coins needed. So imagine stable coins that have a very good regulation background from the MiCA, and the crypto providers could get the trust from the customers very well, I think. So that's why Circle comes to this market, and they released the official announcements in the last year. They would like to develop a euro coins, MiCA conforming the digital currencies, and it's successfully developed in this year. It's called EuroC. It's a second large value in this European market. I think this is an old version of my presentations. So, and also in the last months, Binance, it's another decentralized exchange. So they also released the official announcements. They are going to go into the European market and try to restrict unauthorized stable coins and try to transform the unauthorized stable coins to well-regulated stable coins by the MiCA regulations. So that's why more and more these big companies get involved in the European market. And we also find very interesting things in the European regulators. There's still a debate for the stable coins. So European Financial Stability Board, they still think stable coins have significant risk, but MiCA, they are more actively to support the establishment of the stable coins. But why this happened? Because the regulation category is still ambiguous for the stable coins. So FSB, they still kind of struggle to put stable coins under the regulation of the financial instrument or e-money. But MiCA, they think they offer the three options, and finally to make the stable coins under the regulation of the e-money. And they try to build the euro-backed stable coins as a global stable coins. So that proved the Europeans have the confidence of the euro-backed stable coins could compete with other global stable coins. So that is something I think the geopolitics played behind of the stable coins. And the stablecoin approach in the US are straightforward. SEC, they set up the stablecoins under the federal security laws, so which means they think stablecoins as securities, as a financial instrument. But MiCA, they regulate stablecoins as an asset. We mentioned about that. It's under the e-money regulations, but they still remain the token features for the stablecoins. That is, they think that's the asset referred tokens. We also did some research on the utility of the stablecoins for the decentralized financial institution ecosystems. It's clearly to show here that stablecoins has provided the most liquidities for the decentralized financial institutions. So that's why US ecosystem has been developed very well based on the large amount of use of the stablecoins, which reflect back to the European side. It becomes a fact of the importance of the geopolitical development strategy for the stablecoins, I think. So let's summarize our key findings in our papers. It's clear to see most of the sectors in the US has been standardized very well, no matter in the technology set or the application set. And the ISO and also the EU, they are in the catching up situations. For conclusions in our papers, so we identified what is the current situations for the blockchain standardization competitions between the EU and the US. And also we find out EU, they would like to develop euro-backed stablecoins as a geopolitical strategies to counter the US dollar dominance. So this observation that raised the hypothesis of the fragmented standardization in the EU. So they would like to build a distinctive blockchain standardization systematically to challenge the US technology authorities. And in the futures, we are going to reconsider, we have like some future works, we try to reconsider the debate between the different European regulators. Because when we think about the stablecoins has been considered significantly risky, maybe because the risk assessment are different for the different regulators. So that's why we need to think why that stablecoins is significantly risky and how to handle these issues. And secondly, we are trying to find some case studies that could work for the system series and make the competitions between the two systems from the EU and the US. So pretty much that's all we prepared for today, and welcome for the questions.
Thank you for your presentation. Do we have any question?
Yes. Well, building on the smart contract question of the gentleman there, pretty much the digital euro is not going to be programmable money. It's already in the legislative proposal of the Commission. Do you think that it is possible for private stable coins, including one issued by banks or a group of banks, to do this job in the European economy?
I think that is quite hard. Because based on what you said, if that is a private stable coins, that means that issued from the no matter what kind of the entities. So you can issue the stable coins, or a bank could issue the stable coins because stable coin has issued by the blockchain, so it's within that block. So which means if you have the address, you can issue the stable coins, but it doesn't mean that stable coins could pitch to the euro. So that's why it must be issued by the European Central Bank. So that reflects to your questions. I think it's importance of the stable coins that issue from the euro, not from the single entities, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other
Thank you for your question.
Just one clarification, maybe. So did you consider the UK regulations surrounding this, or is it a separate thing, or is it part of the EU initiative?
Because right now, UK regulations are kind of conservative in this blockchain technologies. Even the FCA, they are still kind of struggle to issue the digital banking for the blockchain technologies or the blockchain applications. So the most famous two banks, the Monzo and Starlings, they got their license in the 2013 and 2017. But right now, they are kind of struggling to push those technologies. So those regulations are only based in the EU, I think. The UK are kind of behind of this.
They're behind.
Yes.
Another question? I have one question from you. In your research, have you considered the difference between standardization and regularization? Because the stable coins are considered as the regularization, but the standardizations are different.
Yes.
Because the regularization is some kind of standardization with some mandatory things. And maybe because of this MiCA that you mentioned and the Euro stable coin, the US is very well developed, but EU is
kind of the behind
yes,
of these
in the behind
situations.
of this, because EU is trying to regulate everything. Have you considered this?
Yes, we
Or
did.
your for future work?
Yes, I think that could be one of our future works. We did a little bit research on that because when I tried to research the MiCA, so they didn't give a clearly recommendations they are going to develop stablecoins standards for it. But US standards, they are clearly to show they have a technique standards for the stablecoins, but they don't have the regulations for the stablecoins. They just put that under the federal security law. So that's why I think that is a very good point. Maybe I can consider that in the future
Yes, because I
research
find
angle.
your work very interesting. Maybe for future work, this
Yes,
is very
yes.
interesting.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
for your presentation.
Thank you.
Our next sorry. Our next presenter is Ramin.
Thank you, Mohammad. My name is Ramin. I'm from Dublin City University. Our paper is about secure and decentralized collaboration in oncology, a blockchain approach to tumor segmentation. Medical image processing approach have been widely used in artificial intelligence. And medical imaging is a crucial component of oncology, allowing us to observe hidden complexity of the human body. These can be done by different imaging methods such as PET, CT scan, and MRIs. Tumor segmentation is an essential step in oncological imaging. The process of manual segmentation is highly difficult and time-consuming. Because of this, we prefer to do this segmentation and image analysis using automatic methods. And automatic segmentation methods contribute to a standardization of evolution across various healthcare facilities. The quality of automated methods in the field of medical image processing is highly depends on the obtained data. For instance, if you have 300 data, you can obtain one result, but if you can work on more than 1,000 data, definitely you can obtain a better result. So obtaining this amount of data is highly difficult. Moreover, when one of big challenge in this field is imbalancing data. I mean, when you are working for tumor segmentation, only a part of your image, including the tumor, and because of this, you have only a small part of your data set, including what you want. More part of the image or more part of your data is not what are you doing, what you want. Blockchain technology is a revolutionary option for addressing crucial problem of data privacy and security. This structure not only secure confidential patient data, but also cultivate a sense of collaboration among healthcare practitioners. We realize that if we want to obtain better results, so we need to obtain more data. These data medical data need to be annotated by healthcare professionals that such as doctors and radiologists. The main problem is that we can have not access to these experts at the same time or at the same place. So we have to find a solution to annotate this amount of data in different parts of the world. Because of this, we prefer to use blockchain technology in this field. If we using the blockchain technology, we can find a solution to collaborate between healthcare professionals all around the world. I mean, each doctor or professional or expert can obtain data based on granting access to them. Get this data and annotating this data. And here you can see four images from a brain that including tumor inside this. We have 4 modalities including flare, T1, T2, and T1 enhanced. So as you can see here, there are many modalities when we are working on, for instance, brain tumor segmentation, and it takes a lot of time to annotate or means segmenting tumor part inside this image. As I mentioned, we decided to work and overcome this problem using blockchain. The structure of blockchain is comprises of sequence of data blocks that are securely interconnected by cryptographic principles. Every block consists of a set of transactions, which in the concept of medical imaging could encompass activities like uploading a new image, annotating an image, accessing an image for analysis. For instance, if we want to work inside the blockchain, for obtaining image, we need to, at the first step, we need to uploading a new image from a hospital or a clinic and in the first step, annotating of this image is highly critical for us, because only an expert in this field, 1 or 2 experts, need to be annotate this image, and because annotating image or data make the final result for us. We cannot only annotating with a low degree of quality. A blockchain differs from a standard data set by distributing its data over a network of computers instead of storing all data on the central servers. In the first step, we need to obtain high-resolution medical images. Next, encrypting medical image before uploading them to the blockchain. Next, a complex access control mechanism is implemented to annotate this image by a specific set of medical professionals. Next, before allowing an expert to see or make notes on an image, a smart contract validates their qualification based on a predetermined set of standards. Then the smart contracts only allow access to the encrypted image after successful verification, enabling the authorized expert to decrypt and comment on them. Smart contracts simplify the pay process for expert by incentivizing and rewarding their contribution according to present criteria. These criteria can be considered as maybe quality of annotation, quantity of annotations. In the next step, data scientists utilize a statistical and machine learning approach to predict outcomes such as tumor progression, patient response to different treatment procedures, probability of recurrence. Next, every image, annotation, and subsequent analysis result is documented on the blockchain, forming immutable history records. And the suggested system, with its focus on protecting confidential medical data, is expected to gain advantage from permissioned blockchains. A role-based access control in blockchain can be resource intensive, particularly when it's come to gas consumption and computing costs. As you know, gas is a price paid to account for computational energy expended. To enhance these aspects, we can investigate various strategies such as state channels, efficient contract design, and layer architecture. Thank you so much.
Thank you for presentation. Do we have any question?
Thank you for your presentation. I'm just wondering, you talk about the images and this kind of stuff, but where you put these images? In the blockchain or in an off-chain system, and that you link these images to the blockchain? Because blockchain is not made for a very big data. So
we only use blockchain for sending this data, not for storing this data. This data is inside a hospital or something like that, and when we want to granting access to a expert, we need to transfer this data only to this expert.
okay, so you store off-chain, you store in some server everywhere, okay, so Google Cloud, and then you store what in the blockchain? The metadata that are associated to that image, the hash of the images that you put off-chain. So just to understand what kind of data are recorded in the blockchain. I don't...
Actually, I don't know.
It's not a problem, it's just curiosity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I guess they sort maybe hash of images, because it's a common practice.
Yes, if the images that are stored in the blockchain, so I think that's what hard is assigned to be. If you transfer the images to the metrics and you just use a metric that's called storage in the blockchain, and if that works,
but generally you store on an EPFS or other kind of external storage, and then you take a hash of the images that then you can verify when you take the position of the images. and you verify the consistency of the image.
Storing the hashes
Is one of
best
the,
practice.
but also there are other metadata that you store that maybe is sensible because it comes from patients. So the metadata in the blockchain. So this was why I was curious about.
Thank you, sir.
Regarding the question, is your blockchain permission or public blockchain?
No permission, because the
you
smart
have different
contract
level
need to
of access?
verify qualification of expert that need to be granted access to them, and yes, permission.
Just one quick question related to that. So if you are using permission blockchain and you talk about some incentives, right? So then you need to add those payment channel or something like that into your blockchain. Have you thought about some? How do you incentivize?
Actually, my colleagues is not here to represent that part,
okay.
because my focus is only on segmentation parts.
Right.
Yes, I'm not so familiar with blockchain.
Question about probable future work. So in my personal experience, doctors are usually not that tech savvy. So if you're a doctor, you are likely to leave your codes and access somewhere. And how do you think in future work for you to protect from doctors leaking information unintentionally?
Actually, at the moment, when we are working with these doctors, we put data inside a hard disk or using Google hard. But at the moment, we trust this doctor, honestly, and we cannot. Moreover, we can contract with them. You need to secure this data, no leakage of data. But in this blockchain, as I mentioned, my colleagues need to be describing details, and she knows much better than me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other question?
Just want to add the information in this case, like last year, just 2-3 months here, 2-3 months ago,
Sorry,
have decided to allocate space for this kind of sensitive data. So now you can use all over the Europe those kind of dedicated servers for this kind of images. So they are centralizing everything.
Okay.
And in that case, only there will be few providers of this sensitive data.
Thank you.
Yeah, but the issue is with the centralization.
This is the issue for many applications. Because not only MRI,
But based on our discussion, because it's inside the EU, everything is going to regularize and centralize. But it's against the purpose of blockchain.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Our next presenter is.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And, our next presenter is Elham.
Hello everyone. First, I apologize because of my voice. I have a cold and maybe my voice is not very clear because of weather changing when we are coming from Dublin to Osaka. I apologize for that. At first, I'm Elham Mianji from Dublin City University, and today I want to talk about my research on hybrid consensus networks for a scalable and secure Internet of Vehicles. In fact, in this research, we're trying to combine blockchain with smart cities and autonomous vehicles and consider some challenges and standardization in this area. The outline of my presentation is, at first I will start with introduction about autonomous vehicles and connected autonomous vehicles, followed by motivation, blockchain and PDL, and then I will talk about more details about PDL and IOV, hybrid consensus networks, and DPOT, and then I will provide a detail of privacy preservation method, and at the end, the conclusion of my research. At first, we should know that when we are talking about autonomous vehicles or connected autonomous vehicles, these vehicles categorized to different levels, from level 0 to level 5. In level 0, driver controls everything and we have no assistant. In level 1, the feet are off, like cruise control.